Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to another edition of VNA Sports Talk. And today, what I want to talk about is the 5 coaching hires and how they are doing so far this year. And what kind of motivated me to do this was Joe Judge. We're 1-6, and we've seen worse for coaching. You know, Bill Parcells went 3-12-1 in his first year, and then 9-7 in his second year. So obviously, the second year is going to be very important. He's done a really good job in the offseason with bringing in free agents, him and Patrick Graham. That's why I think he's really valuable, bringing in coaches. That's why we brought him in. You know, he realizes he just needs to be the head coach. Now, he's mismanaged some plays. We've seen a lot of rookie mistakes. You can't control everything. You can't control Corey Ballantyne not being aware. Sometimes people are just stupid, you know, in the head. Yeah, and good thing with DeAndre Baker. I couldn't imagine DeAndre Baker being on this team, how frustrating that would have been. So I guess it's a blessing in disguise. But we've seen a lot of rookie mistakes, a lot of penalties. Now, that last drive, I usually agree with his timeouts, but I don't understand. There's 52 seconds left. You have one timeout. The Eagles are on the 1-yard line. Let him score. And then you have 52 seconds with one timeout. I guess you have an injured kicker. We don't know the ins and outs of the exact situation, but we got lucky with the face mask penalty, and then they score on the very next play. So, obviously, that didn't work out for us. And then we end up 40 seconds, no timeouts, and people yelling at Daniel Jones for throwing in the flat twice, and then they yelled at him for taking a sack when he's just trying to make things happen. You know, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. If he would have taken the sack and didn't fumble, the time would have ran out. It would have been 4th and 32, you know, at that point. So I don't understand that. But let's get back into the other coaches and where I would rank them. I'm going to discuss a little bit about them first. Let's start off with Mike McCarthy. I think he's getting a bad rap. I think what he's doing is trying to tank the season now. He realizes, I don't have my 2 left tackles. I don't have my safety. I don't have my defensive ends. I don't have my defensive tackles. I don't have a bunch of players. So it's like, what's the point of fighting? We're not going to win anything. And I think he's going to try to get his guys. Now, we've seen coaches have revitalizations in the past, but it's not really too common. Pete Carroll went to USC, kind of reinvented himself. Now he's a hoorah guy, joined Seattle. And it's all about the quarterback at some point. You have to get the quarterback right. That's a different story. We'll talk about that with other coaches. But Mike McCarthy, he's not really trying to win now. And he doesn't have a bunch of talent. He doesn't. The offensive side is, decent. But, DeMarcus Lawrence, there's a thing to be said. He wasn't fighting under Jason Garrett. I said this year he was going to have a monster year because he was motivated to play, motivated for his contract, motivated for his team to be successful. And he's not a motivator now. And you can see this team giving up on Mike McCarthy really quickly, and that's something to take track of. I think he's the worst coaching hire so far because you decided to hire the stand-up guy. You know, as a Giants fan, I wouldn't have minded him, but I sort of questioned it. Like, we're seeing what Aaron Rodgers is doing now, and why wasn't he doing that in the past couple of years? Like, what was going on there? So that's a really important thing. The next one I want to mention is Kevin Stefanski. Now, he has the Browns at 4-2, but in the end, like, the Browns are just the Browns. I think, there's a certain ceiling you can get because it's so dramatic. Baker Mayfield said it right. Like, I feel like we're 0-6 and we're 4-2. So, obviously, Kevin Stefanski's winning games. They beat the bad teams and they lose against the good teams. But we've seen some games this year. They've held their own against the Colts. They beat the Colts. They played some really good games. But against the Steelers, the Ravens, they weren't able to do it. And it's not a talent mismatch. It's a lot of personnel and it's a lot of problems. And this is going to be a theme for the video. Kevin Stefanski is going to need his quarterback. I don't think it's Case Keenum. He's going to need to bring in his quarterback. I don't think Baker Mayfield's a long-term thing there. I don't know how they're doing with penalties, but I'm guessing it's a little bit better this year than it would have been over the past couple of years. That's a big obstacle that you have to overcome. It's huge. Now, he's letting Joe Woods do his things on defense with his Seattle scheme. Obviously, the defense isn't that great because they lost, their whole secondary. The only redeemable thing you have there is Denzel Ward, I guess. But, the offense is playing pretty well. Baker Mayfield is looking better. It's just that there's a ceiling on Baker Mayfield. He doesn't know the cap of his abilities, so he tries to scramble, make some dumb plays, and that ultimately hurts the offense. And we saw it with Kirk Cousins. I think this team has a definite ceiling. I don't think it's the Super Bowl, but Kevin Stefanski, give him the right quarterback, and I think they can be a Super Bowl winning team. It'll be interesting to see because he's had to overcome this whole COVID thing. He was only an offensive guy. He was a guru, and now he's the actual head coach. He had to do through all the logistics, and the fact that they're 4-2, it has to count for something, right? It does, and I think they're going to win this weekend. Next, I want to mention is Ron Rivera. Now, a lot of people are blaming him for the whole second, a 2-point conversion. I'd go for that 100 times out of 100. You're trying to win the game here. People are like, just go to overtime. You don't trust your players? Sorry, I don't trust Kyle Allen. I know they started him over Dwayne Haskins, but I still don't trust that. They had momentum, a little bit of momentum there. Daniel Jones isn't the best, with fourth quarter drives. Let's just say that. But, I think he made the right choice. Now he wants to bring his guys in. He's trying to choose his quarterback. The only team that I've mentioned so far that really feels like they have their quarterback is the Giants and maybe the Cowboys. It depends if they want to bring in back Dak Prescott, whose ankle injury may be a long-term chronic thing. But I think that who was I talking about? Ron Rivera. I think that Ron Rivera has a defense now. He's going to play through his defense, and he's done well with the Panthers. He did well with the Panthers, so I trust him to be a playoff contender next year. A lot still has to be yet to be proven. They're 1-5, but they played a really good game against the Eagles. They completely failed against Washington. Don't blame them. Rams completely don't blame them. Every team has a stinker. The Giants with the 49ers, the Patriots, the Seattle Seahawks will have a stinker. Everybody has a stinker. You can't overreact to that. I think Ron Rivera is good in the long term. I wanted him as a Giants fan. You see, there's a lot of themes to this video. I wanted this coach as a Giants fan. Then they want their quarterback. So I think the best we can agree coaching hire so far this year has to be the Matt Rule. I think it is. I said that he would tank in his first year because that's what he did. College is a little bit different, but Baylor, Temple, when we took over those programs, they won like 1-11, 1-10, whatever the record is in college football. But he's been doing fairly well because you inherited players more in college. You can really manipulate rosters that much when you first joined the program. With the NFL, he did. He brought in Teddy Bridgewater. He brought in a smart offensive coordinator in Joe Brady. And he has a team fighting without Christian McCaffrey. He realized, bringing two wide receivers, he knows how to build teams. He knows how to relate personally to these guys. And again, I think he had a little bit of an advantage because he's used to limited practices from college, things like that. But I don't think it's a huge advantage. I don't think it's worth a couple of games. I thought they'd be a top 3 pick. And it's not looking like that now. They're looking like wild card contenders. Some people have them up as 14. I have them more in the lower teens. They're like a 19-20 ranked team. But they held their own against the Bears. Probably shouldn't have been in that game, but if they challenge the Saints this week, we're looking at the Panthers and being like, should the Giants, do they regret not hiring Matt Rule? But no, I think that the Giants are in a good position right now. Overall, Matt Rule has to be number 1. Then it's like a mix of 3. I put Kevin Stefanski at 2 because he has to overcome a lot with the Browns management, everything like that. I know they have kind of new management, Andrew Berry. I have to have him at number 2. Number 3/4 is Joe Judge and Ron Rivera. And then number 5 has to be Mike McCarthy. So in the end, these guys need to find their own quarterback. Even the Carolina Panthers, I thought they'd be in the tank for Trevor sweepstakes. I thought, they'd tank this year, get Trevor, evaluate the roster, and then next year they'll be great because you have a young defense and a lot of pieces there. They drafted all defensive players in the draft. Yetur Gross-Matos is hurt, but he showed some flashes. Derek Brown hasn't been that great. But, defensive tackle, it's really hard rookie year. I think he's going to step up in his second year. Overall, solid coaching year. Besides Mike McCarthy, again, he could reinvent himself. He could be successful in the future because we've seen guys do it. Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick. We've seen guys turn it around and have good second stints. But, that's up to see. It's going to be very interesting to see how this class ends up grading out, who gets fired after 1 year. It looks like all these guys are going to be keeping their jobs after the first year, but you never know. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.